Hi, everybody. We're here to talk about the great new film, Freed Climb, and we're blessed to have the director of the film with us, Benoît, all the way from France. Whereabouts in France are you?
Well, I'm from Gap. It's in the Alps, so near Seus,
Excellent.
the cliffs.
And not too far from Buoux, where the film is set.
No, it's just 2 hours driving.
Excellent, excellent. So I think really to start, I really want to know sort of why you made this film. What was the reason for making this film? Were you interested in the birth of sport climbing, or did you just discover Anton and decide you wanted to make a film about him? What's the motivation for you?
Well, it all came from the meeting that we have with Antoine. One day, it was in November 2019, and I was in Buoux to film him for TV information. They asked me to make some drone footage for them because there was a small documentary for TV that they were making. So I met Antoine this day, and I am a climber. I've been climbing in Buoux when like 10 years or a bit more, a lot, and I love this cliff. So in fact, I went to do this gig, this movie, this footage, because I was in love with Buoux, and I was curious to meet Antoine, because I wouldn't have done that. It was not a very interesting thing for my job at the beginning, but when they told me that it was Antoine in Buoux, and I said, "Oh, okay, I'm going to come." And so I met him. We made some great footage of him climbing in La Rose des Sables. It's a route that he just he made a long time ago, and I remember 10 years ago I went in this route, and I found it absolutely great. And well, all this meeting just came out that we said, hey, I think we should do something, because it was all about the beauty of him climbing so smoothly in this beautiful route. And that just popped in my mind like this. And then I asked him if he would be okay to do something. So at first we wanted to make I wanted to make a movie with him and other climbers in different locations.
Mhm.
And I asked Stephanie Baudet and Chris Sharma. I wanted to go from Buoux to Seus to Spain, but then I didn't get any news from Chris Sharma. Well, I was unknown in this in this sport as a director, so I didn't get any answer. And Stephanie Baudet wasn't available at this moment, so we just said okay. And after speaking with Antoine, he had so much things to say about the history of climbing in Buoux, and about what he was, how he was seeing and living climbing now that he's 55. So all these things, it was all linked, and it just became Freed Climb, because it was important to me to tell, to show that climbing is not just about great moves, big dynos, and all this competition, and 9A, 9B, 9C. It's also at the beginning for everybody that climb. It's a pure moment of joy, I think, of meeting the cliff and meeting yourself. So yeah.
Yeah, I
So
really love the film for that reason. I mean, I really like films which have a bit of history in them. You know, I've made a few films myself about climbing history, but as well as that, it's a very soulful film, and it's very artistic as well. You know, I made a film recently about Ed Drummond, and when he talks about new routes, he doesn't see putting up a new route as just just choosing a line and climbing up it. It's not just about the physical movements. It's almost like an art project. You know, he puts his soul into it, and I think Antoine, he kind of approaches it in the same way. It's not just about the moves, is it? When he puts a route up, it's more
exactly.
What does a new route mean to him? Do you think?
But sorry,
what does a new route mean to him? Why is a new route for him important?
Well, I think he came to that after climbing high level, he went to artistic dancing on cliff. So I think it's something that is very organic. Maybe it's something that you get inside. He feels like someone who is really involved and attached to what nature can give you and what you can do with it, with the respect that you can give. Antoine has a very open mind, and he's very curious about a lot of things. And for him, I think climbing is his life. So he tells it in the movie. He wants to climb until the end, but he wants to do it well. So he has this approach of climbing of something that is natural for him, that he can't live without that. So I think going and making new routes is something natural for him. And yeah, that's what I would say.
You said you were climbing yourself, but did you say this is the first climbing film you've made?
It's my first climbing movie. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But you've made lots of other films, haven't you? Is that right? You've been working as a professional filmmaker.
Well, yeah, I make a lot of movies, and but it's more often it's movies for companies, for things like that. So it's really ordered movies. So this one was a personal movie. So it's my first documentary as a personal for my own documentary. So I made it really with my heart and what I was feeling from my passion for climbing also.
Mm-hmm. Is that something you've wanted to do for a while, to make your own kind of climbing film? Is that something you've been thinking about for a while, and you just happened to meet Antoine?
Yeah, I think I was searching for a few years now something that I wanted to do as personal film, and I never had time, in fact, because I was overloaded with other movies that I was making, and then the COVID time came, so we had less work, and I had this windows of time. So it was in June, and I said, okay, this is now. We have to do it now, and so that went all naturally.
Excellent. And can I ask you about your working relationship with Antoine? I mean, because yes, he's a documentary subject. He's the person you're making the film about. But I can imagine if I was working with him, that the process would be much more collaborative. You'd be working together. He'd be. Was he suggesting ideas on how to make the film, and was he involved in the creative process of the film as well?
Well, he wrote his memories. Well, he already wrote that before making the movie, before we met. So when we met and when we talked about this movie, he sent me those texts, and yeah, it helped me to imagine what route I wanted him to go into, which was pretty hard for him because I asked him to go into hard routes that he made a long time ago, but he's still very, very strong, and he was a bit impressed and stressed at the beginning about that, but he made it really, really fine. And so yeah, we did talk a lot about what we could do, what we didn't want to do, and yeah, he was part of the process, really. And I had my ideas. Some of them I really wanted to go into, but yeah, he came with all this all this story, and and his feelings also about that is something that was really great to see, that he really talked easily about everything. So
It sounds like you met him just at the right time. Sometimes people are just ready to tell the story.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's exactly what you're saying, because he just wrote those texts a few months ago, and I met him, and it went like that. It's exactly the right time.
Mm-hmm. Excellent, thanks. And what did you kind of learn about him? Was he diff as you got to know him more? Did he kind of develop as a character? Because what did you know about him before you met him, and how did that change once you met him?
Well, I didn't know that he was that depressed when he was young, and that was really a big moment for us when we talked about that, because he explained us that he was so depressed, and he wasn't fine in his mind, and he was so rageous in his climbing, because he had to express this bad feeling inside, and to express it outside by climbing hard routes. That was yeah, that was a strong moment for us, because at that moment we saw that he wouldn't hold things in front of the camera. He would say how he was, and there is all this part when he said that also that he's tired of he was tired of all this process of climbing harder and harder and harder, always, all the time, and that is a bit of the society that is a part of the society also that is like that. You all want to go higher, and yeah, I really discovered him with this interview, saying all that. Yeah.
One thing that struck me, he seems, on one hand, he's like he's obsessive. He seems almost obsessive. He's obsessed with climbing. He's obsessed with doing new routes. And in fact, to climb 8B in the 1980s, he must have been obsessed. You couldn't climb that level without being obsessed. Yet he's also kind of incredibly playful and soulful. So how did you try and get those two sides of his character across in the film?
Well, I think it's just time that made that. When he was young, he was rageous. He was obsessed by that, and then I think he got fed up with his competition, with all this, and he felt like he wanted to go into a more artistic view. Maybe he didn't, before that he didn't find what he wanted really to do. And then when he discovered that he could do some, he needed some audience, some public. That's what he discovered when he was at making the. Sorry for my English. I'm looking for the words, but he was making the wall for a climbing wall for a competition, and he was in front of 2,000 person, and he just went and do some dancing on the wall, I think, and people were there and were applauding. He really he had this moment of understanding that he was liking that. Also, when he was doing La Rose et le Vampire, which is 8B or 8B plus, when he made this move, he opened his chest to the people behind him, and that was suddenly he wasn't in front of a wall. He was in front of an audience. All these things made him what he is today as an artist, a dancer, and he lives with his job now. He has his company, Les Arts Bleus, and he just loves to do that. He's, as you say, he's really playful. He's a big child. A serious child, but big child.
Yeah. I mean, the Rose Le Vampire, I mean, I started climbing myself kind of mid-late 80s, 86, 87, something like that. And I can remember seeing images of the Rose, you know, the kind of big...
Yeah.
And it was just like, wow, look at that, you know. And what is interesting now, you know, every climbing wall in the country, you know, route setters will keep setting that same move. You know,
yeah, but
it's very rare that that a route inspires route setters to set that move all over the world. You know, that's really good.
Yeah, it was a new move, and yes, I think it's something that all climbers have in mind, because it's a part of history of climbing. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
that's what I loved in making this movie. Also, it's this part of searching some pictures of all pictures, talking with other climbers. Can you see if you still have some pictures from this from those years? It could be interesting. So all this research was really great, because I was, as I told you, I really love this cliff. I love climbing there. It's really hard, but it's such a beautiful place, and the climbing is so great. So I was really pleased to go into the story of this place. I was so I didn't know anything before about that. I was just knowing climbing routes and things like that, but this was really great to learn about.
I'd say, would you agree that most climbers, you know, most regular climbers, not professional climbers, just, you know, everyday climbers, don't really appreciate the amount of effort and thought that goes into a new route? And I think your film kind of highlights a little bit of that.
Yeah, I was talking about that a few days ago with a friend as we were climbing, and yes, it's a process. I really I don't know how to say that. I think every people that go and make routes, because we're just consumers when you don't do that. You know, it's kind of just go and climb, and you consume your route, and yeah, people that are involved in that. There are. I don't know if there are a lot of them. I think it's there are, in France we often see the same people in the guides, in the topo, but yeah, it's a kind of consummation. You say, yeah, we're kind of consumer. Yeah,
Yeah,
so yeah,
that makes
it's
total sense to me. The idea that we're just consuming the roots, whereas they are they're the creatives, they're the
yeah,
artists creating
exactly.
what we're consuming. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, we should be more grateful, I think. Yeah, and just think about that. Think about that people are making that. So it's a big respect for them.
Yeah. Tell me a little bit about one of the kind of one of the standout scenes in the film. I think for me, which it's certainly something I haven't seen before in a film, and I've seen actually a lot of climbing films, you know, because I've been making climbing films for like 15 years, and I've been involved with many festivals, and so I've seen a lot of climbing films, but I've never seen anyone kind of lowering off a route head first. Did you ever
Oh yeah, yeah,
sequence where he lowers off the route head first, and that's a really lovely sequence. It's quite dreamlike, I think. Can you
yes.
tell me about why you wanted to put that sequence in the film?
Well, that's because it's Antoine.
Yeah.
That's Antoine. It's just he, he's climbing, he's making things, and suddenly, puff, he goes down like this, or he just goes walking, walking on the cliff down. So yes, that's him. That's him. So um, I couldn't do a movie without showing him doing that. So
It must have been a fun shoot. Did you have a great time?
yes, as I really, that's what I say when um when I have a message for the people that are going to see the movie. It's, I hope you will enjoy it as much as we enjoyed making it. So yeah, it was really a great time. It was very short because we shot it in 3 days. um
Yeah.
yeah, 3 days. And we had all what we wanted in those 3 days. We had some sun, we had some clouds with light rays. We had some good time with Antoine, eating together, great interview, and all the place. The last shot, the last sequence of the movie, uh, we shot it the last day, at the last time, and it was nearly raining. It was raining all over, but not in this place. So, and there was a lot of wind, and he stands on this great rock, on top of the rock with a flag. It's kind of a freedom for him, claiming the freedom of what he does, and there was really a lot of wind, so he was taking the flag like that because it's a big flag. and I was turning around him with the drone, and he said, "Okay, I can't hold it no more." Just so, so but it was really a great moment to see that. Well, more for me because I wasn't holding the flag, but for him it was hard. But I think it's one of the strong scene of the movie for me. I really love this moment.
Yeah, it's a great way to end the film. It really is. And this might seem like a bit of a simple question, a simplistic question. But would you say that Anton is a happy person now? You know, is he at peace with himself now?
Oh yeah, I think yeah, he found this piece that maybe a lot of climbers are looking for, because we're often looking for going at the top. And I remember when I was climbing a lot 2 years ago, I was obsessed by the quotation. I wanted to go at my higher level, and at the end, sometimes I was asking myself, is it really what you want to do? Do you really want to go climbing this weekend as you do it all week? Do Just because you have to do this route, and it was something that was, um, the dark part of climbing for me. So when I met Antoine and his way of thinking, free climb, I mean, it was ringing to me, you know. It's exactly what I was looking for at this moment, and that's what he found. Even though, as he tells it, that's not because he feels free to climb, that he doesn't want to do hard routes from time to time and challenge himself. But yeah, I think he found the good way to climb in peace. Yeah.
And what would you say is your biggest takeaway from this project? You know, what have you learned from this project yourself, and what do you think that will lead you to do in the future?
Well, I think that's really personally for climbing. Just don't take it too serious.
And for filmmaking?
And for filmmaking?
Yeah.
For filmmaking, I think it's really about making people, trying to make them talk with the heart. That is the hardest part, but I think that is what is the most important. What renders the best for the people that watch, because yeah, when someone talks with the heart, it's so much interesting to hear that. You know, you really feel that he's telling his truth. So yeah, that's what I remember for filmmaking. Yeah, trying to make people talk real.
Well, I think that's fantastic. Let's leave it there, because that's a wonderful sentiment to finish on. I say amen to that. Thank you so much for joining us today. That's been a fantastic insight into your film.
Thank you, Paul. Thank you, Paul.